Hello, class. This is my father, and we are about to educate you on Gullah culture. So, how you doing today, Daddy? How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Stop. All right. So, I get this question a lot. People ask, "What is Gullah?" So, can you? I know it's very broad, but can you say what is Gullah? Like, what did it originate from? What are the roots of it, and how did it evolve?
Um, you want me to speak in Gullah, speak in Geechee, or whatever you call
Just
it? I mean, basically, what Gullah, Geechee, and Gullah, where I'm from, what it
speak up,
is
Daddy.
it's basically a somewhat of a culture, and it's based. That culture is based off of the rice plantations on the coast of South Carolina, Georgia, and a small portion of North Carolina. And that culture um, basically consists of sea islands, and this is where a lot of the rice plantation and culture during the slavery time was. So a lot of sometimes people hear it in our language. Oh, well, I wouldn't say language, but our dialect. And that dialect is basically like it's almost similar to Jamaicans, people from the Bahamas, and and the other islands. So um, it's a different kind of culture. So
So, talk a little bit about what was it like growing up, like in the Gullah?
basically, we lived in extended family was a big thing. Family was a big thing, and we basically grew up in villages. And like say for instance, I grew up. I was born and raised, and these are old rice plantation. But I was raised in what was called Fraser Village, and then later on I moved to Ford Village. But those villages are based on extended family, and um, basically you have you can have 10, 15 houses in a particular village, or sometimes 20 some. But all of those people that are in that village are family. So I can walk over to another house and just go inside. I don't have to knock on the door. Go inside, get something out the refrigerator, get something to eat, walk out, and go to somebody else's house. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how it was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little different. I didn't know any better until I actually left from home. And then you saw a difference. Well, hey, the rest of the world or the rest of the country is a little bit different than we are. So, yeah.
So, what was that like staying in kind of this condensed area and then going out? Like when you went to Iowa, what
Well,
was that like?
it's interesting enough. I actually could identify probably more with people from the Caribbean and um, and people from different countries in Africa, almost more than I could identify with the actual African Americans, because the culture was similar food.
Similar to Gullah culture.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean they got they have like a cornmeal. We got the same thing. We call it mush.
Tell us a little bit about the food.
The food is like, for instance, we eat our fish with the head on it. We cook our fish with the head on it. You don't see that anyplace else. But when you go, the Caribbeans do the same thing, and the seasoning and everything else is similar. And the Africans do the same thing. So, like I said, the cultures were different. The even the words that we use were similar. Let's say, for instance, in Gullah culture, we say "hunter." Where hunter going? And that means where are you going? Where are you all going? And 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 Jamaicans and Barbadians and Bahamians, they say honor. We say hunter. They say honor. Where honor going?
Mm-hmm.
And we say hunter. So when they speak, I can tell exactly what they're saying.
Right, and I know you. We're like really into family history. Like we're really into family history and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And most of our family, you said, is like from the Dominican Republic of Congo, like Sierra Leone, Angola, those Western African countries. And Gullah culture, it's kind of a reflection of those cultures a little bit, I guess, more.
Yeah,
but with their own twist.
Yeah, mainly with my research, 60% of Africans that were imported into the Low Country or into the Georgetown area were from the Congos, and so you can even there's a clap. We use the clap. It's
Like in church
similar,
and stuff like
yeah,
that?
and we use it in church, singing out on the porch. And if you listen to a Jamaican beat, they have the same beat. If you listen to Congolese, they got the same beat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that's where it came from.
And okay, I find this very, very interesting. Like where you're from, Plantersville, like Georgetown, South Carolina.
That's right.
They got all these rice plantations everywhere, and for some reason, like our history, all our family history is right there, and it's so easily accessible.
That's right.
But a lot of people in the area, they don't seem to kind of go out. They don't really know much about.
No, some of the older people know because some of them were born on those rice plantations. But for the most part, most people don't get that much into the younger kids. I mean, now they don't get into the rice plantations and that type of stuff. A lot of them don't even know that they exist there, and they're only like a mile away.
That's crazy to me. Like, I don't know. That's insane.
Well, like it just was something that I mean, it was never taught. I mean, all my time coming through grade school all the way up to high school, we didn't hear about rice plantations or was taught about it. But in Georgetown, in the 1800s, Georgetown produced over half of the nation's rice. Came from just that little area in Plantersville where we came from.
All our family, all that generation is like, all those generations are there, and yet people don't talk about it that much in that.
No.
Why
unless you ask some of the older people. We have a grand aunt, or your great grand aunt. She's 98 years old, so she knows a lot about but she's one of the few that's left that really can tell you about well, I can too, but they can tell you about a lot of the history and the families and everything down there.
All right, Daddy. So I think that was good. That was good.
Thank you. And if you want to take a trip down to Gullah land, to Plantersville, give me a call. 706-691-8611.